Sports Mix. You in the mix, rockin' with Kenny. When it comes to news, man, he got plenty. You in the Sports Mix with Kenny, news and knowledge. A lot of dope techniques make kids become scholars. You need to tune in, a lot of hot topics. When it comes to sports, Kenny sound like a prophet. You in the mix, man, you in the mix. Plus he keep you up on all the hottest trends. Plus you never know who he has as a guest. So grab a cold one, man, and just tune in. You in the mix, man, you in the mix. You in the mix, Sports Mix. You in the mix, rockin' with Kenny. When it comes to news, man, he got plenty. You in the mix, man, you in the mix. You in the mix, Sports Mix. You in the mix, you rockin' with Kenny. When it comes to news, man, he got plenty.
Hold up, y'all. Sports Mix, Big Kenny checking in.
Yes, sir.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel if you're watching on YouTube, Instagram. Check us out. We here. Playoff edition. Playoff potential edition. Ravens Steelers Sunday for the division. Win or lose. Loser goes home. Winner goes to the playoffs with a home game, a home playoff game at that.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it?
Right.
Just 7 days ago. Just 7 days ago after that disappointing loss to the New England Patriots. You know, Derrick Henry didn't get in the fourth quarter. You know, John Harbaugh was fired. At least from my perspective. He deserved to get fired at that point. And then they come back a week later in Green Bay, nonetheless.
Yeah.
You know, Derrick Henry ran the ball for 216 yards, 4 touchdowns. There was no doubt about him getting touches this game. There was no doubt this game that the man was going to touch the ball, and he was going to touch it in the fourth quarter. There was no doubt. Eddie Freehouse, hello. Welcome. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, my friend. My day is wonderful. My day is wonderful. How about yours? Be careful now. That's usually a setup question. Usually some foolishness gonna come behind that. But yeah, welcome. Welcome to the show. So yeah, man, it was no doubt this week. You know, because they had to hear it all week about Derrick Henry not being in the game in the fourth chance. Thank you for the subscription, Eddie. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. No doubt about it. This week, you know, 30 plus touches, 216 yards, 4 touchdowns. There was no doubt this week that was not going to be the reason why they lost the game this week. That the freight train wasn't getting his touches, and you know, step up. Shout out to Snoop Huntley, stepped in, was solid as a backup. You know, he managed the game very well. Used his legs when he had to, made plays when he needed to, throwing. But Derrick Henry was the star of the show. You know, Derrick Henry was the star of the show. Which sets up the game for the division, the AFC North division title, as well as a trip to the playoffs in the AFC. And again, it's win or go home. If the Ravens win, they move on to the playoffs. If the Steelers win, they move into the playoffs, and Ravens go home. Exciting weekend for football. You know, Ravens played Saturday night. I know I didn't have high expectations based off what happened in the last week. Going into Lambeau Field, You know, the road game. It's a Saturday night. You know, you got to deal with the weather out there. I knew that their quarterback was out, Jordan Love. I knew he was out with the concussion from the week before, but their backup played extremely well, um, extremely well, and you know he looked like he deserved a starting job somewhere based off of how he played, and he played well the week before when he came in relief. So he didn't. I mean, I'm not saying that you know it was a flash in the pan. He may get him a job. He was Malik. What's his name?
Willis.
Malik Willis. So he was a number one draft pick. You know, he was a high draft pick. He was drafted by the Titans a few years ago, and you know, for whatever reason, it just didn't work out for him there. And he became, you know, he went on to Green Bay to become a backup. And so he may get an offer this off season to maybe get a starting job as a seat filler, you know, until the organization finds the quarterback that they want. You know, you got to think a team like the Oakland Raiders or the Las Vegas Raiders need a quarterback. Um, they may go that route and and then draft a young quarterback as well. So you know, there's some options on the table for him. But he played very well um, in a relief role, and you know, I mean, I really can't say much about his performance. He played very well as a backup. You know, like I said, Ravens needed that game. They needed to win, and you know, the conspiracy theories are out. You know, conspiracy theorists and the theorists are out there. You know that the NFL had some little hanky panky going on, and they wanted to see this game, and too many things had to happen to set up for this weekend. You know, for the Steelers and Ravens game. But I mean, if you believe in conspiracy, you know, have at it. I don't. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I believe things have to play out, and it played out in the favor of the Ravens this weekend. You know, Ravens win. They took care of business on Saturday. They did what they had to do, and what was not expected was the Browns and the Steelers game and how that game played out. You know, with Shador. I mean, Shador wasn't like lights out. You know, he played well, but he wasn't lights out. The Steelers, like you said, the Steelers offense wasn't uh, really productive. You know, Aaron Rodgers made a play or two here and there, but nothing, not what to be expected in a game of that magnitude, where they could have pretty much shut the door on the division with a win, and Aaron Rodgers probably could have rested this coming week. You know, he probably wouldn't even had to play, but neither here nor there. You know, the Browns won the game, uh, and here we are. You know, so some excitement this weekend. You know, with all that was on the line, and so it sets up for this weekend with the Ravens and the Steelers in Pittsburgh Sunday night, the last game of the season, last regular season game of the year for the AFC North championship and a chance to go to the playoff. Whew, got all that out. So what were your thoughts, Dean, on the let's talk Ravens first. You know, Ravens game and how that played out. So what was your thoughts on the Ravens and what they did?
Yeah. I thought that I thought that the game plan was pretty indicative of the poor choices that they made the previous game.
Right.
When we couldn't find Derrick Henry in the fourth quarter, we found him in every quarter in this game.
Yeah.
I think they made a comment that the 36 carries that he had was the most he's ever had in his career.
Mm.
So that's something, you know, to feed him the ball that much. It was a historic game for him. I mean, he rushed for over 200 yards, and this was, I believe, the 7th time making him the running back with the most 200-yard games in a career.
Mm.
He broke a tie with a couple of greats, Adrian Peterson and the late O.J. Simpson.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, the Jews. So they all had 6 coming into this game, and old Derrick Henry broke the tie with a completely dominant game.
Yeah.
Completely dominant. The 36 carries, which kept Huntley. Huntley passed only 100, a little over 100 yards, 105 or 107 yards in the whole game. So it was strictly about running that ball, and even the passes that Huntley threw, he threw 20 passes, completed 16, but they were all, dump offs. It wasn't anything downfield. So they pretty much admitted that last game was horrendous by not getting Derrick Henry the ball, and they showed us that they wasn't going to make that mistake this game. And for the Ravens to be able to run that ball like that was really impressive, man. I mean, really, the last couple of games, the offensive line has been doing a pretty good job as far as the run game goes. Our guy, Filet-O-Fish and Voorhees and them guys, man, in the run game, they really played well. We've been okay with the other guys pretty much, but it looked like, I don't know, maybe them guys are coming along a little bit here. And a lot, if you can run the ball like that, then for the most part, going back to passing should be easier when you done pounded them with that run. So, yeah, shout out, man. Shout out to Derrick Henry and that offensive line and Tyler Huntley for playing. He really played a real controlled game. It seemed like his game has matured since, playing with the Ravens in previous years. He looked much more composed. His choice of when to run was nice. He did a real good job on that. And yeah, man. I mean, Tyler Huntley did his thing, man. And shout out to Cleveland. We love you guys this week. For now, you helped us out. Big win up there, and I watched that game, and those announcers kept mentioning Baltimore. I know Baltimore's watching, and it went all the way down to the last play of the game, basically. But we got what we want, and when you think about starting off the season 1-5,
yeah,
and here we are now playing. Basically, it's a playoff game. Here we are playing the Steelers in a playoff game. And whoever wins continues. Whoever loses is out. And after starting the season 1-5, I think we should be happy that we're at this point.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic. In the words of Mike Tyson, I'm ecstatic.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic.
Now, I've never rooted for the Cleveland Browns ever.
Right.
And I was cheering for them loudly Sunday. And again, I wanted to see this game this Sunday being something.
Yeah.
That was really the reason. Don't get it twisted. I'm not a Cleveland fan, and I like Shedeur. I want to see Shedeur do well. Under any other circumstance, he could have done well and lost the game. I'd have been fine with that.
Yeah.
I'd have been fine with that.
I wanted that brother up there to get that sack record too.
Yeah. I wanted to see him get the sack record as well.
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers did not, and he was getting rid of that thing, Jack. He was
Yes,
like,
he was.
Nope, you won't get me. You won't get me.
Exactly.
So coming to the stage. Got one of our guys, man. It's been a minute since we had him on. My guy's busy. My guy's busy, man. He got a lot going on over there. You know what I'm saying? But welcome back to the Sports Mix, the Hall of Famer. Glennie Moore, what's up, brother?
Okay.
Yes, sir. What's up, brothers?
What's up?
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Yeah. Likewise.
Good to see you. Good to see you in the building.
Oh yeah.
You know, good to see you in the
Hey,
building.
look, I'm under the weather. Hey, Kid A, I'm under the weather. I ain't feeling well, but I said I'm gonna jump on for this. I ain't been on here for a while.
You picked a good show, good timing.
Yes, sir. I enjoyed myself Sunday night, man.
I text Glenny right after the Cleveland game Sunday.
Yeah.
He said, hey, I'm in there. Yeah, man. So what was your thoughts just based on
actually Saturday, I mean.
Yeah, the Ravens win and then coming back Sunday, the Browns over the Steelers. What was your thoughts on those two games?
The first game, the game plan of running that ball and giving it to Henry, that was Ravens football offensively. I think Snoop played a simplistic game. He did what he was supposed to do, didn't do too much, didn't do too little. Defense held it together collectively. I'm so afraid. My issue with defense, we do not put enough pressure on the quarterback to survive. That's my concern for the playoffs. It's just not enough pressure. I know we're hard on the DBs, and I get it. They haven't been playing well either, but there's no rush on the quarterback. And that kid for Green Bay had so much time. He did what he wanted to do. What if we play against one of those top quarterbacks in the playoffs? We won't survive it, man. That's my concern. That defense and that defensive line, we need some personnel on that defensive side. We flat out just need defense. Offensively, if I'm being straightforward, Kenny and Dean, we don't utilize the weapons enough. I like to see Likely get the ball. Where has Bateman been? And we haven't talked about this in a few weeks because I haven't been on, but I'm just concerned that the ball is not being shared or the receivers getting open. I don't know what it is, but Flowers is the only one getting the ball. I love that the fact that they utilized Ricard on Saturday. Man, I think that's big with his addition and him returning the last few weeks for that Cleveland game. Pittsburgh lost that game by focusing on stopping him from getting that sack. It was just obvious. It was obvious, Kenny and Dean, that they was literally trying to stop him rather than winning a football game. They didn't want to go down in history. Shador, I wish he would have played better. But he's still learning, man. But I just wish he'd have played better and throw that ball hard and for certain. Don't just lob that ball up. So Steelers coming up next. We got everything in our favor. Everything is in our favor. Even the guy that broke his arm in the last game, the tight end. We got every single thing in our favor right now. I'm not going to say it's a blowout because it's a division game. I'm not going to say a blowout, but we should handle them pretty well and beat the Steelers on Sunday.
No DK?
No DK. They missing a lot of pieces, man.
Shout out to Rodney Pierce. What's up, big brother?
What's up, Rodney?
The NFL script writers couldn't have done better. WWE all day. The Ravens are playing possum.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. They scripted that perfect.
Have we heard anything about the condition of Lamar?
Nah, I haven't heard no updates yet. When
they starting stuff though.
They practice Wednesday.
Yeah,
we're here, but yet the conspiracy theorists and the Huntley or Lamar, that started right away.
Yeah,
and if Lamar is 80 to 85%, Lamar plays.
Mm-hmm.
That's just it ain't even a question for me. And I was reading some of the comments of the people, and I said, boy, these people are just so afraid. You know, Lamar, you got to go with Huntley because of this. You got to go with Huntley. Listen, you pay Lamar Jackson a lot of money, and nobody complain about him when they're doing well. You know, when we was 1-5, and you know, and he came back and we got the 5-5. Was nobody calling for Tyler Huntley to start at that point? Now, with everything on the line, you want to go to the backup quarterback. There's always the saying, you know, the backup quarterback is always the most popular guy in the room. You know? And I get it. Lamar's been hurt, so we haven't seen Lamar. We haven't seen the Lamar Jackson we used to see. You know, he's not running like he used to. He's kind of holding the ball longer than we like to, and then he can't get away from people as well as he used to. And part of that too is you got to give defenses credit because they are assigning somebody to him for the purpose of don't let him get away from you. You know what I'm saying? The pocket breakdown and he get to going. You get with him. And they made mention of that in the game Saturday is that they didn't have a foul on Huntley. They didn't have a foul on Huntley, which gave him the opportunity to take off a few times, and he had a big run. You know, so again, for fans, when you watch these games, you know, I know fans watch the games with a fan's eye, and they only see what they see. You know what I'm saying? But it's the game within the game that sometimes get overlooked. You know, so a defense and a defensive coordinator is going to prepare for a game with Huntley at quarterback a lot different than he will with Lamar Jackson at quarterback. You know? So the fact that when you looked at Huntley, he wasn't throwing, he didn't throw anything over 15 to 20 yards. All his passes were short passes, and they got some, you know, they got the yards running. He didn't throw anything deep. I don't even think it took a deep shot. If I remember correct, he may have taken one or two, but I don't think he took a deep shot. The whole game, everything was kind of dink and dunk, which was effective. It got the job done. But again, you know, you in a game of this magnitude with everything on the line, you know the Steelers are going to play to stop Derrick Henry. They're going to try to take the run away from him. So if you got Huntley as the quarterback, whether it was him or Lamar, I'd rather have Lamar. If you're gonna take away Derrick Henry, I'd rather have Lamar Jackson because I know he can make plays down the field, which they're going to need. And Huntley, if they take away him in the running game, I'm not confident that he can make plays down the field that they're going to need to win. And then the Steelers are missing T.J. Watt as well. You know, he's out. I know he was out this past Sunday. I don't know if he's out this coming Sunday, but again, they got injuries. It's lining up for, you know, and again, you don't want to beat teams at their worst. You want to beat teams at their best, but you know, you deal the cards. You know, you play the cards that you dealt. So, I'm looking forward to seeing Lamar. It's Lamar Jackson for me. So all you conspiracy people, the ones that want Huntley, I hope you don't get what you want. I hope you don't get what you want. He will start, but the Steelers get some fast game. They will QB to start. Absolutely, you gotta run the ball. You gotta run the ball. We know that. You know, you got that big horse back there. Not to put the ball in his hand. You know what I'm saying? And I think John Harbaugh heard enough between Sunday and Saturday evening to say, you know what, Derrick Henry don't run that football this week. You know, there will be no doubt, win, lose, or draw, he will get some touches this week. You know, and
Kenny, you know who I think going to play a big factor too, and we haven't really called his name all year. If we run that ball like we did the other day, I think the kicker loop is going to be important for us. this coming weekend. It's going to be tight. It's a conference game, and he going to have to kick a few field goals. Let's run the ball. If we'll make a few third downs, kick a few field goals. So I believe we're going to need Luke to play Ravens football, run that ball, and let's keep it honest. We ain't got to go for it every fourth down. Kick the ball, let Luke make his money. Let's kick some field goals too. This is a conference game, so we need all that. We need everything.
And I want to see the pass rush this week. They got Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my God.
He got to be running for his life. And you got to hit him a few times.
Mm-hmm.
You got to hit him a few times, man. Just so he know. Get it in his head that they come. You know, all right, they coming today. You know, and switch it up. Just go with the four-man front and try to get some pressure up there, but then send some safety, send some corner blitzes at him. Just shake it up a little bit. But keep him on his toes. And don't let him get comfortable, because if he get comfortable, it can be a long night. It can be a long night because again, the young fella from Green Bay, I keep forgetting his name, the quarterback.
Malik Willis.
Malik Willis. They was picking on my man. What's my man Wiggins? They was picking on Wiggins, man. Something terrible Saturday. I said, man.
Yeah.
I mean, every time you see the back of Wiggins' jersey, man, reaching and trying to get running something bad. I'm like, come on, Wiggins.
Yeah.
Come on, man. So yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be, Steelers week. This one's for all the marbles. I don't know that we had a last game of the season that had this much on the line in Baltimore in a long time, if ever.
Yeah, it's been a while. I just remember them losing to Cincinnati, and it pushed them out of the playoffs in one game. That was probably pre-pandemic, and but this
guess who the quarterback was?
Huge.
Guess who the quarterback was for that game, Dean?
Who was that?
Well, Huntley.
Snoop was the quarterback for that game, right?
Oh, Snoop was.
That was a
for the
playoff
game you're talking about.
I know he was the quarterback in that playoff game.
Was that a playoff game? Okay. Yeah.
When he fumbled at the goal line.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So I'm wondering, man, if the Ravens, and I don't expect them to be able to run the ball on the Steelers like they did against Green Bay, which will bring in us needing to get more done in the passing game. With Snoop against Green Bay, again, he passed for 107 yards. And he didn't throw for anything over 13 yards. That's the longest completion, a 13-yard completion. And he could play that way. He could be composed. He could be in there. He could run. You said there wasn't no spy on him. He could run the ball. But that dominant run game allowed him to play that way. Yes. Now, if we go against the Steelers and they're able to limit the run game, then we will really need to have a more complete offensive scheme against them. And I think that Lamar definitely give us the better opportunity to balance that offense out more so than Huntley. I like Huntley, and but I know his arm strength is a little less than desired. He's more time, and he's got to let that ball go a little quicker to hit the out route and things like that. So I'm just hoping that Lamar can heal up and can be out there. If there's any complaints about Lamar, we know he's been hurt. It appears that he's been holding the ball too long because he seemed to be focused downfield. He wants to go downfield. The check down a lot of times is sitting over there wide open. Yeah. And Lamar won't pay no attention. He want to go downfield. I think he need to pay a little bit more attention to the check down. Take it if it's there. Yep. Take it. And so I'm looking forward to this, man. It's in Pittsburgh. I think Rodney just said the weather's supposed to be bad, and this is Derrick Henry time, you know. So, and again, shout out to the O-line over the last couple of weeks, because as far as running the ball, they've been doing a pretty good job, and that's all of them, including Falele and Voorhees. They've been really doing a good job. Maybe they are rounding into shape. I don't know, but the logic is you try to run that ball. You run Derrick Henry, and then you take it from there.
So speaking of Lamar, you know, something that made my heart smile a little bit yesterday. Play some sound right quick.
Listen, I'm not directing this to you. Understood. Or RC. I know how y'all think about Lamar Jackson. I am not going to listen to it. This team has won every season because of him. They have been in the playoffs, AFC championship games. They've made runs. This has been one of the best offensive football teams the last 5 years in the NFL. And we got one season where the dude been beat up, and I don't give a damn if you don't like how he come to the building. Your ass wasn't talking about that when he was out there winning MVPs and putting the team on his back when everybody else was injured. He ain't dropped the damn pass or called it not a touchdown with Isaiah Likely in the football game. He didn't fumble the damn ball against the Kansas City Chiefs when they could have won the football game. I ain't listening to that. I heard people talking about this while I was out of town last week. Lamar Jackson, they don't like the way he come to the film. They don't like. I didn't hear none of this when he was winning games consistently for the Baltimore Ravens. I remember Todd Monken not running the football in the AFC Championship game. I remember Derrick Henry just a week ago not getting a touch in the football game that they possibly could have won if they would have ran the football. But Lamar Jackson, the problem is it is crazy to me how this stuff manifests, and we hear a story now, and it's a story written that they don't like how it go. I ain't never seen John Harbaugh before this year not praise Lamar Jackson, not talk about how great of a teammate he was. I'm not going to sit here and listen to people talk about Lamar Jackson and the way he goes about football because of one bad season in Baltimore, when everything we've heard about him has been great coming out of Baltimore. Every game we've watched, we've acknowledged, you know what? He the reason Baltimore plays the way they play on offense. When Greg Roman didn't want to throw the ball down the field, we asked, could Lamar Jackson be a really good passer in this league? They go get Todd Monken. He's one of the best passers in the league. I ain't listening to this crap. I almost said the S word. Y'all go ahead. But that's the...
But Marcus Spears went off.
Yeah.
He had heard enough. He heard enough, man. And again, you know, nobody have nothing to say about Lamar Jackson when he is Action Jackson.
I concur.
You know, now Mike Preston come out with an article last week, and the whole world go crazy. He talking about, man, that Lamar falling asleep in the meetings, and you know he unprofessional, and you know he childish and all this foolishness. Nobody was saying none of that stuff. A few weeks, remember Lamar Jackson, the one told him take the damn video games and stuff out the locker room. We're not focused enough. Right. You know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden he falling asleep in meetings, and again, I've been reading the Sun paper for a long time, and this is par for the course for Mike Preston. You know what I'm saying? He's a columnist, so he's going to write stuff to get people riled up and get excited. I don't know if somebody told him that. Somebody could have told him that. I'm not saying that the man is lying. But the timing of everything is and we've been here before. He wrote an article about Ray Lewis a few years ago, and people brought that up. They trying to run Ray Lewis out of town. You know what I'm saying? Rob Long on 105.7, I saw a clip of him and I posted it where he was comparing what's happening with Lamar Jackson to what happened to Eddie Murray back in the day. You know, when the media kind of went against Eddie Murray, who had put up MVP caliber numbers in 88, the last season that he was in Baltimore. But everything that was wrong with the Orioles was his fault. You know what I'm saying? And then they ran him out of here, you know, sent him away, sent him packing. And we were looking for a first baseman pretty much until Palmeiro got here. You know, it was like, 4, 5, 6 years later? And they still went and traded for Eddie Murray, you know what I'm saying, to help him to get through the playoffs. You know, So again, man, miss me with the because I don't know what it is about superstar players in Baltimore, superstar black players. I'm gonna just say that because we held on to Cal Ripken, in my opinion, longer than we should have. You know, what I mean, he was way past his productivity, and we was looking at the streak, and he gonna play all these games, and he come to work every day, all that. Yeah, I love Cal Ripken, but that was overplayed, right? Brooks Robinson, you know, now I was a little too young. By the time I really started paying attention, Brooks Robinson was done.
He struggled to hit his weight.
Yeah, but I know he stuck around longer than he probably should have.
Way too much longer.
And you know, Ray Lewis again in the prime of his career because he was looking for a contract. And they was ready to run Ray Lewis out of here. You know what I'm saying? And again, you know, I know Dean. We talked a couple days ago. Well, I sent you the thing where it was like, you know, considering trading Lamar Jackson. And what was that you told me when you contacted me about trading Lamar Jackson?
Oh, I said, man, shit. Number 8 is my quarterback, without question. I ain't even questioning that.
Yeah, under no circumstances.
Under no circumstances is number 8 leaving this team. And all that stuff Mike Preston been talking about, and he got people riled up. People texting me about, you know, Lamar. They thinking about trading him. I'm not buying into any of that foolishness. No. I'm not buying into any of that foolishness. And Marcus Spears, man, he nailed it.
Yep.
He nailed it, man. And again, we talked earlier about the Ravens starting out the season 1-5. They had a 1-5 record, dealing with a bunch of injuries. And here we are now with the last game of the season, which is essentially a playoff game. And we can move forward with this victory. I mean, come on, man. I mean, we know Lamar been beat up. His toe was messed up. His ankle was messed up. His knee injury, his hip, his back. I mean, come on, man. The guy's been injured, and they're going to jump on him like that. I mean, this is in poor taste. But we also know, if you go back to the contract, during the time of the contract, we know all the Lamar haters was out there in full force. I mean, we were hearing all kind of madness about Lamar Jackson. You know, right now, you know, they wanted, speaking of Eddie Murray, they was ready to send Eddie Murray, a perennial all-star who's batting 300, hitting 30 home runs, driving in 100 runs every year, because Jim Traber came up and hit 4 or 5 home runs. We can get rid of Eddie Murray now. I mean, which is ridiculous, man. Now, you know, because Tyler Huntley done played well, we don't need Lamar. We can get rid of Lamar and his contract and have Tyler Huntley as the quarterback and bring in other people with Lamar's money. I mean, man.
I like Tyler Huntley too, you know, but no. Tyler Huntley is a backup for a reason. He's a backup for a reason, but he fits very well with Baltimore because he went to a few places when he left here, and he's back here. So what's that tell you? You know what I'm saying? So,
I think you and Glennie, for me, you guys didn't hit the things that worry me. The things that worry me is defense. And I worry a little bit about Luke. Now, Malik Willis passed the ball so easy against the Ravens. I mean, at one point, I think he was like 9 for 9. He hadn't even missed the pass. He finished up, I got his stats up here. He finished up 18 for 21 for 288 yards. I mean, it was easy. It was easy for him, and he was mobile, and he ran for a couple of touchdowns. They didn't even run the ball against the Ravens. So I think we're going to be playing against a different team. But again, the pressure. I mentioned pressure. We didn't get no pressure on this guy, Malik Willis, and we've been suffering on that. And also, man, I mean, the Steelers are going to run the ball against us. We're going to have to be able to stop the run against the Steelers. That number 30 and that number 14, they some hard running dudes. And so, you know, that's my worry. But again, it's a division game. the expectation that it's going to be close. Man, must see TV.
Let's see. Rob Smith, what's up, Bob Smith? Say Henry better get 25 plus carries.
That's the hope.
I don't even think that's a question.
That's the hope.
He gonna get the carries. You know, because he gonna get the carries. You know,
and keep Aaron, as you said, can he keep Aaron Rodgers on his heels?
Yep.
Yes.
Throw everything at him, man. And but I like those backs, man. They overachievers. Them running backs from the Steelers, they've been doing well. We're gonna have to stop them. Just keep Aaron Rodgers on his heels, and we'll be fine.
And 14, he can catch that ball out the back, and he looked like a wide receiver out there.
Yeah.
You got to definitely cover him.
Got to cover him.
So, you know, I took some notes. And these some of these things that we talked about during the course of the season with this team. Because, you know, like I said, we do this pretty much every week. We missed a few weeks here and there, but we got the pulse of the team. And some of my notes from 2025 edition of the Ravens. You know, so, you know, we addressed Harbaugh. We talked extensively about Harbaugh last week. And last week was the first time I publicly said that it's time for a change. You know, I've been a Harbaugh supporter, you know, when most people was beating him down. But I felt like after that game in New England, and again, that was just one game, but that game kind of just was the one that kind of pushed me over the edge. Right. And so I thought about some things that we didn't happen coming into this season. So first thing was I didn't feel like the Ravens properly addressed the offensive line. You know, I didn't think coming into the season that they did enough on the offensive line to make a strong run and really take care of the quarterback, which is the number one priority. Having Cooper Rush as the backup. I know Huntley was on another roster in the summertime. He came here, I think, right before the season started. I think he was at the last preseason game when they signed Huntley back, or toward the end of preseason. But those couple of games where Cooper Rush played, the Houston game, which was awful, and then the Rams game, where, you know, he just played awful. And then I believe they started Huntley the next game. Huntley came in, I think, in the Rams game, and then he started the next game against the Bears, which they won. You know, so I think when we go back and we talk about things that could have happened, things that should have happened, Huntley should have been the backup as soon as he came back. He's always been a better backup to Lamar because you don't have to change a lot, you know, when you go from one to the other. So again, not saying they would have won all those games, but I felt like having Cooper Rush versus Huntley was a mistake, especially when Huntley got back. You know, we talked about the 1-5 start. You know, Lamar was hurt in a couple of those games. You got the Buffalo loss. That's a game that they should have won. Losing to Cincinnati on Thanksgiving. This how ugly that game was. The Steelers lost. The Patriots lost. You know, not running Derrick Henry. The defense was terrible early on. You know what I'm saying? So, like, all these things played a part, you know, to us getting here where we are now. Again, there's no guarantees that if this happened versus that the record would have been different. But, you know, the way they lost some of these games early on, like, you know, like I say, the Buffalo game, the first game, Buffalo game was the first game of the year, the first or second game of the season. To lose that game in the fashion that they lost it, you know, we know Henry had the fumble early on, you know, but that was a game that they had in the pocket and should have won that game. You know, all that being said, here we are, week 18, I think, and there's an opportunity to win and be in the playoffs and win the division. if you'd have told us this in September, October, when they were 1-5, I wouldn't have believed you. I wouldn't have believed you. Even though I was the one who kept saying, well, it's still early. Y'all know how I be talking. It's still early. You got a chance. But I wasn't real confident in that. I wasn't real confident in that, man. And we talked also about Eric DeCosta and his job. The job he's done drafting players and putting people in position. I just saw today, shout out to I believe it was Bruce Cunningham, Fox 45. He posted that Suggs and Marshall Yonder are Hall of Fame finalists. They are on the final list for guys to get into the Hall of Fame. And he brought up, if these two guys get in, which I think both of them will, if not this year, I think both of them eventually get in. That makes 5 Hall of Famers that Ozzie Newsome drafted. And at one point in time, they all played together. It wasn't a long period of time, but at one period of time, all of the guys was on the team at the same time. And add that Ozzie drafted Lamar Jackson, who probably is going to be a Hall of Famer as well. You know what I'm saying? So you talking 6 Hall of Famers in less than 30 years that Ozzie Newsome was the GM for the Ravens.
You probably can add Justin Tucker in on that list too.
Oh,
if they don't hold the massage thing against him.
Well, Justin got some flame to do.
What do you think, Glenny?
I don't know.
You think the massage thing gonna hold him from getting into the hall?
About that one.
He may have
make him wait.
He may have to massage somebody to get in. He may have to massage him.
They're gonna make him wait
to get in.
Yeah, they're gonna make him wait. Yeah.
Yeah. But in this comparing Ozzie to Eric DeCosta, the Ravens just didn't they just never looked this bad defensively when Ozzie was the GM. They always had a solid defense. And we would struggle offensively, whether it was having Kyle Boller, because Ozzie got to take credit for that too. He drafted Kyle Boller. He signed off on that, the Kyle Boller pick. So if we're gonna prop him up, I can't let that slide because I know somebody's gonna remind me.
Yeah, he ain't hit on everything.
He didn't hit on everything, but it was the way the filling of the gaps. You know what I'm saying? We always had a solid offensive line because we always could run the football. That was one thing the Ravens could do is run the football, regardless of who the quarterback was. They could always run the football. And so, and we talked about it here, like I said, we looking at the job Eric DeCosta did, and I think Dan, you did a real good job a couple weeks ago, kind of breaking down round by round what he did in the last couple of drafts and some of the players that he picked and what production they put out for the Ravens or not have put out for the Ravens. You know what I'm saying? So I think at this point, everybody's job should be up for debate. Harbaugh, I just think, man, it come to a point in time, even if he won the Super Bowl, if he took the Ravens and they won the Super Bowl this year, I just think, man, it's time. I just think it's time. And again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but it's my opinion. And I'm not one of them. I'm not a fire everybody type of guy, and I'm not as emotional after wins and losses as people can be. But I just feel like, just looking at the stat that I put up last week, Harbaugh has all those fourth quarter losses in the last 5 years. I mean, more almost doubled than the next person. It's time. I just think it's time. I think it's time to go in a different direction. And maybe if they make a run, they get to the playoffs, they make a run. Maybe he can go out on his own, where it's not going to be an ugly thing, and we're going to different. He can just say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna step down and go. Because he'll get a job the next day. he won't be unemployed for long. I think he'll be a coach in this league, or he coach wherever he wants. If he wanted to go to college, whatever, he coach wherever he wants. And Harbaugh's still a relatively young guy. He don't look like he done by a long shot. But the Costa, man, it's the draft picks, man, it's something we got to look at. And what kind of production is he getting out of the draft picks that he's been picking over the last 4 to 5 years? So that's my rant on that. I just felt like after the New England game, it was a long week. I'm gonna say that it was a long week in the city. I tried to avoid football talk. It was Christmas. It was Christmas week, man. I didn't need all that depression and negative talk during Christmas time, man. I tried to avoid it as much as possible. And so they showed up Saturday night, which I was happy, man, with the outcome of that, like most of us are. And to see Derrick Henry have the game that he had, on national TV, for the world to see. For the world to see. And he put out a patented stiff arm. Did y'all see the stiff arm he put on that DB in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, he pushed him 8 yards.
I mean, violent. That wasn't even he didn't even just stick his arm out there. He get out my way.
He pushed him 8 yards, man.
I can't think of the history of the NFL. Somebody with a stiff arm like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember Earl Campbell was tough. But even Earl wasn't.
He was tough.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah, man.
I can still when Derrick was with Tennessee and he had what's the dude that was the safety for the Ravens? He had him spent around.
29
that came from Seattle.
Came up from Seattle, yeah.
And I remember his name. He had his back to him.
So Glennie, so the last and Big Ken just said it, when that New England game took a lot of us over, that broke the camel's back in a sense when it came to Harbaugh, because we thought a lot of the Harbaugh gotta go was premature throughout the last few seasons. We think the fans are a little premature. That New England game was so blatant without playing Henry. Henry didn't even get on the field a lot of that fourth period. And that seemed to be the game that might have pushed that needle to it being justification that maybe Harbaugh should go. Have you had any thoughts on him keeping his job, him being fired? Is this game do or die for him as far as whether they win and get in? He good. If they lose, he's out. And the same thing could be said about Tomlin too. So there's a lot in this game, but I'm wondering what your thoughts are on Harbaugh and his job security.
I think that this game, it's a do-or-die game. I think that, unfortunately, man, if he lose this game, because of it being so much in our favor, I think he's going to say goodbye. I think it's going to be over. I really do. If we win that game, I think that they'll discuss what happened after that, because I'm not sure if they can make it with this team too far in the playoffs. Tomlin, I think the pressure is more on Harbaugh than Tomlin, because in the history of the Steelers, they don't fire coaches. I do believe Harbaugh should go out on his own terms. So I do believe if he lose the game, I think he would remove himself. I think he would agree with moving forward. I honestly think that. But I don't. He just let's be clear. His career has been outstanding. I mean, you can't take that away from him. But those fourth quarter losses, and like you said, when you name that Patriots game, the way we're losing, it's not good. It's not a good look, and not a good look for the city. And it makes you think that they may need to hear another voice to get them over the hump. Then it goes back to a kid. Yeah, it's kind of questionable. We haven't been getting those draft picks and those players like we used to. We gotta fill those holes in, man.
Yeah.
You know, we got to do better with getting players. I mean, the personnel on defense is lackluster. We don't have it. So to answer your question, I do think it's do or die for Harbaugh. I don't think so much for Tomlin.
Mm-hmm.
They said the Steelers haven't fired a coach since before Chuck Noll. So whoever the coach was before Chuck Noll was the last coach that the Steelers fired.
That's a long time ago.
Long time ago. I mean, I wasn't even born.
Right.
So it's going back that far. You know, and again, I know the Steelers and the Ravens are rivals, and you know, we don't prop them up like, you know, we're not gonna do that. You know, and I gotta be careful what I'm saying. I know that Steelers fan is watching, you know, but organizationally, they do it the right way. You know what I'm saying? They don't get too high or too low when things are not going as they want it to. They don't make knee-jerk reactions. You know, they don't make knee-jerk decisions. You know, stability is very good. And most successful organizations, whether it's in sports or business, are stable. They understand the importance of having, you know, the voice be the voice and not to undercut the voice. If you understand what I'm saying. So they're not going to do things like the Dallas Cowboys. You know, you don't have to worry about Jerry sitting over your back, sitting over your shoulder, questioning everything you do, every move you make. You know, the Rooney family, they're going to let the coach and the football people make the football decision. And I'm sure that they have communication. You know what I'm saying? Because again, when it's time to go, Chuck Noll figured out, you know what? It's time to go. You know what I'm saying? The 70s are gone. This thing ain't carrying over into the 80s. It's time to go. You know, and Chuck Noll, you know, and he may have been forced out of there, however, but he knew it was time to go. Bill Cowher the same way. You know, he had some success over his tenure there. And when it was time for him to go, he went, and to his credit, he never came back to the sidelines. He's been on TV ever since. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't that he might have just felt like, you know what, I've done all I can do as a coach, and I'm just going to go over here on TV and talk about football. And I'm sure he made a nice living on that CBS football show. You know, I'm sure. So, you know, when Mike Tomlin is ready to step down, I think he'll step down when he's ready. I don't think that I don't think the Steelers will fire him or force him out, because I mean his record speaks for itself. You know what I mean? He has not had a losing season in all his, what, he's been there 19 years, 18 years, something like that. Never had a losing season. That's for that amount of time. That's a hell of a feat in this league. You know, Bill Belichick had a losing season, and he considered to be the greatest coach of all of them. But even he had a losing season or two up there in New England, especially them last couple. You know, when O'Brady got away from him, Belichick looked like Ted Marchibroda or somebody. Ravens Marchibroda. I ain't talking about Coach Marchibroda. I'm talking about Ravens Marchibroda. You know, so I don't.
So what are you saying? So what are you saying about Harbaugh then? So what are you saying about Harbaugh, Kenny?
It's time to go. I think.
Time to go.
I don't think. See. Remember when they got rid of Brian Billick, and it was a buzz prior to, you know. So they kind of put Kyle Bowler in Brian Billick's lap. Like this was your guy. This was, you know, you was riding a time with this guy, and we rode with you, and it didn't work. You know what I'm saying? It didn't work. And so they brought in Steve McNair, and they had the 13-3 season, which kind of saved Billick because I know his seat was burning hot at that point. They brought Steve McNair, and he had the 13-3 season, and it's been my opinion that they got the 13-3, and they got to the playoffs, and Steve McNair was done. He was done.
Mm-hmm.
He had a very lackluster game against the Colts. I believe it was the Colts that beat him right here in Baltimore with Peyton Manning and them boys. And I don't know, Dean, if you remember.
Yeah.
That day, I think we talked on the phone, and I said, "Man, there's just something in the air today. I'm not feeling good about this."
It was too warm. It was something creepy. I remember.
I said, "I'm not feeling good about this one," and I think it was an all field goal game, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that, yeah.
I think the Colts hit all field goals and won the game, like 18-14 or something crazy.
Something like that, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I also remember going out to Westminster the following season for the preseason, and I remember calling Dean after that, and I said, "Man, these boys gonna be lucky to go 8-8." And I'm just watching practice. But I was particularly watching Steve McNair, and he didn't throw a pass over 15 yards.
Yeah,
everything
his arm was gone.
His arm was gone, man. And I said, "Yo, if this is the offense, we are cooked. This is not. We're not gonna go 8-8." And I think they went worse than 8-8. They went like 7-9 that year, I think.
Yeah.
You know, but that was the end of Brian Billick. You know, I just think with Harbaugh, I don't think he's in as bad a position as Brian Billick was. I just think it's just time for a different voice. You know what I'm saying? And then when you look at the way that they've lost some of these games that he's been the coach of, you know, the fourth quarter losses, the games that they've had a lead in the fourth quarter, and they've lost those games. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at all of that. And then you, as an owner and as an organization, because I know fans do it, you always think of the what if. But what if we had done this? Just like Marcus Spears said, you know, what if they ran the ball in the playoff game against Kansas City? That they abandoned the run in that game. You know, what if they did X, Y, and Z? And so you know, we as fans, we look at the players and what the players did or didn't do. But sometimes the coaches are not putting players in those positions to do the things they need to do. You know, and again, Brian Billick, John Harbaugh been here, this is year 16, 17?
Yeah, he up there.
So I mean, that's he has more than one in the you know, in the coaching eyes, because most coaches don't last 5-6 years. They, you know, he's in overtime as far as his tenure as a coach, because coaches just don't last that long. And so, you know, he's been to the playoffs quite a few times, you know, been to a couple AFC championship games, got a Super Bowl under his belt. You know, a successful run when you look at it. Overall, he's probably he's the overall winningest coach in Ravens history, all that stuff. You know, he's been part of some great teams, and he's had a great run. I just think win, lose, or draw, I think at the end of this season, it's time to go in a different direction. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I you know, for me, I think that Mike Tomlin is seriously on the hot seat. And I if they don't make the playoffs, if they lose this game against the Ravens, I don't think he's coming back next year. And I know that they can do it in a way that, you know, it's agreeable that I'm leaving or whatever. But I think that Mike Tomlin, the fact that the Steelers haven't won a playoff game in probably like 8 years, and the fact that he keep winning, having a winning record, but not winning a playoff game, I don't think that's enough for the Steelers fan base. I don't think that's enough for a franchise that has been dominant throughout the years. That's a Super Bowl franchise. Going back to Terry Bradshaw and Bill Cowher and these guys, man. And I think, and it's very, very similar to me to the Brian Billick thing of when Roethlisberger left. Kenny Pickett was Mike Tomlin's guy. Kenny Pickett was right down the street at Pitt. He practiced a lot right there. They all had a chance to see him, and they was high on this guy, Kenny Pickett. Roethlisberger was going to try to stay another year, but they kind of pushed him on out, and it was a miss, man. A first-round pick, just like Bowler. The Steelers whiffed on this Kenny Pickett dude, and now the search for a quarterback begins. And you can start throwing in the names that been there. The guy used to play for Chicago. I think he's with the Jets now. Rudolph and all these guys coming in. Aaron Rodgers to try to fill that quarterback position. And the Steelers missed on that. I think that they are really – I just think that Mike Tomlin is on the hot seat. And he needs to get to the playoffs to save his job. And if he don't make it to the playoffs, I don't think he's going to be with Pittsburgh next season. That's my thoughts. Harbaugh, and I think they're in similar situations. I think Harbaugh is on the hot seat. The playoffs, if he get into the playoffs, he probably will keep his job. But even if he keeps his job, I think Monken is gone, and even Zach Orr could be gone too. But I think they're both. It's a lot riding on this game. It's a lot riding on this game as far as the future of these franchises and these coaches and the staffs there. I just think when it comes to Pittsburgh, just continuously having a winning record is not enough for that city. It's not enough for that franchise, and Tomlin is seriously on the hot seat. And just like you said about Harbaugh, if this guy goes, he'll get a job. The same thing about Tomlin. If he's not with Pittsburgh, people will be jumping all down his throats to get their hands on him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, with respect to the Ravens, and I don't want to, gloss over the fact that we got a big game this week, because this is a huge game and a lot riding on it. But in the case that a Harbaugh is out of here, what are we looking for in the next head coach? What identity will we want the head coach to come in here with? Because remember, and again, I don't fall in love with the hot assistant coach that everybody kind of popping up. I don't even know who that is now, but that's how they play the game. And when they fired Brian Billick, Jason Garrett was the name. He was the Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator at the time. He was the name. He was the hot guy. And he came in here for an interview. And from all accounts, the job was his to take. And he turned the job down because he wanted to stay in Dallas.
Right.
He knew that the head coaching job in Dallas was going to come open, and he wanted to stay there for that. And John Harbaugh, who was not a hot assistant coach at the time, he was a special teams coordinator, which nobody talks about the special teams coordinator for nobody's team. And he kind of came out of nowhere. And I remember just listening to the radio, the sports shows and all that stuff at that time. When he came here for the interview, a lot of people kind of laughed at that. Like, come on, man, he's the special teams coordinator. He's not, we need an offensive coordinator. How we always, everybody fall in love with the hot offensive coordinator. Brian Billick was the hot offensive coordinator. He came to Baltimore, but he didn't bring Randall Cunningham and Randy Moss and them boys with him. You know what I'm saying? And we found out real quick, you can be a genius, but if you're not bringing them players that made you look good, it's going to be a little hard to just say, hey, who was the quarterback? Tony Banks. You got X and Y on the ends, and just throw it out there, and they go get it. No, sir. No, sir. It don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? So whoever the hot coordinator is, and I hope people pay enough attention to sports to realize, you know, if the hot offensive coordinator from whatever team is not bringing those pieces of the puzzle with him here, leave that where it was at. You know, he got to earn them stripes here. And so again, what type of what is the makeup that you guys would like to see if and when Harbaugh is not the coach here in Baltimore anymore?
I think you had to clear house. I think you had to clear house. I don't think you could keep Orr, and I think you need to cater to Lamar Jackson and get him a coach that's going to cater to him. And you're gonna have to get a solid defensive coordinator. I just think Lamar, somebody's gonna cater to him for the next five years, get 2 Super Bowls out of him, and his greatness, man. I mean, it's one of a kind, and I think we need to cater to that. I don't know about what you guys think about it. I think Henry got at least a year or two good years in him that we can ride him out. And offensive, I think we pretty good. I just think we need somebody on that offensive side to do better with that play calling. And we need somebody when we bring an offensive coach, minded coach to the Ravens, we're going to need to clear out Orr. I just don't think Orr is the answer. That's my opinion. I don't think Orr is the answer. I think we need somebody solid on the defensive side. If we're going to cater to Lamar Jackson and get an offensive-minded head coach, to get somebody on defense that's solid that we ain't got to worry about. And I think we'll be fine. I mean, Lamar Jackson himself is Lamar Jackson. I think we just need to cater to him. Let's take advantage of him and his talent for the next 5 years.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
Yeah, to me, with Harbaugh, I've always thought that one of his biggest shortcomings was the fact that he didn't come in as an offensive guy or a defensive guy. He came as a special teams coach. So the fact that he's a special team coach, he's never had the experience of being an offensive coordinator. He's never had the experience of being a defensive coordinator. So he strictly and almost totally, to me, rely on his coordinators for the play calling, for the defensive play calling, for all of that. He relies totally on Monken. He relied totally on Orr and all the other preceding offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators. The guy in Kansas City, he don't rely strictly on them. That guy know how to play call. He know how to do play calling. Andy Reid, these other coaches have a skill set that they brought with them to the position of head coach. Harbaugh is just like I don't know what you call him. He's just moving pieces. He don't know the nuts and bolts, man, enough for me. And I think that the next coach that comes in should be well versed and knowledgeable and something. Offensive coordinator. I like what Glennie was saying about that offensive piece of the pie, making sure that you get the most out of this unique, talented quarterback. You bring in that kind of guy because, quite frankly, if Harbaugh goes, I think both coordinators goes. Even if Harbaugh stay, I think both coordinators are still on the hot seat. I'm hearing that Clemson has been in Monken's ear, and they saying that Monken is interested in the offensive coordinator position down at Clemson University. So I think he probably is gone. But we need a coach that has a skill set, because if you're the head coach and they're playing the New England Patriots, you all got on headsets. You don't see Derrick Henry out on the field. Derrick Henry standing beside you as a head coach. How do you not? I mean, that was just ridiculous that Harbaugh. First, it's ridiculous that Monken don't have him in there, right? And it's ridiculous that Harbaugh does not with them headsets on saying, hey, is Henry hurt? Is he
Yeah.
banged? What's going on? I mean, so those kind of mistakes are so glaring. The whole world saw those mistakes. So I think there is justification for Harbaugh to go, and it's going to be a clean sweep, just like Glennie said. Zach is gone, Monken is gone, Harbaugh's gone, and it's a clean sweep, and they have to rebuild that. I'm not crazy about Eric DeCosta, and in my mind, I wouldn't mind seeing him go. I just felt like he has failed the organization with that offensive line. I think that you allowed 3 offensive linemen to go in 1 year, 3 starters, Simpson, Morgan Moses, and Zeitler. They all went, and he had to fill 3 starting positions. And I just think that the offensive line has failed Lamar Jackson. He's getting beat up. His sack rate is ridiculous. He's getting sacked more than quarterbacks who've played all the games. I think he got sacked. He's sacked more than the boy in Buffalo, and Lamar missed five games or so. So I just would like a new head coach. And again, the big thing, and y'all both has kind of touched on it. They need a new voice. They need a new voice in that locker room, because Harbaugh has not been able to push them over the hump, and I think that the new voice is critical.
Yeah. So Glennie, I know you got the run. I know you're not feeling well. You toughed it out though, man. You toughed it out.
Y'all don't know. I'm dying over here. Y'all have no idea.
Oh no, we can tell. I can tell, man. I can tell. I can tell.
Hey, I like what you said about Andy Reid, and then what the coach from the Cowboys, Kellen, the offense coordinator from Dallas last year, went over to the Saints.
Yeah.
We need somebody like that that's offensive minded, that's going to work with Lamar Jackson. And again, I think Orr is out, man.
Yeah. Was Tomlin a defensive coordinator at one
Kenny,
point?
I wish you would do something, man. I wish you would do like a preview. Huh? What'd you say?
I was wondering about Tomlin. I think he was a defensive coordinator before he became a head coach.
Yeah, over at Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Yep. He was down there with what's my guy's name?
Was he with Dungy?
Yeah. Tony Dungy.
He was Dungy, yeah.
Yeah, Tony Dungy. Yeah. What was you going to say, Glennie?
What you saying, Glennie? Yeah.
Preview.
I said, Kenny, what you doing pre-show on Sunday about from 7 to 8? Let's talk about it.
Uh-oh.
The game come on at 8, right?
Yeah.
The game come on at 8?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kenny, you need to do a pre-show from 7 to 8 right before the game. Let's talk about it, make our predictions.
Ooh-wee.
Then go into the game and eat our chicken wings.
Hey, I'm here. Let's do that. Let's do it. So, yeah, we be back Sunday then. We're gonna bring Glennie.
All right, either you or I may do it.
Get your Campbell soup, Glennie. Or get your wife. Open you up.
That's right, man.
Noodle.
Man,
Get
I'm going bad.
and your ginger. Get your ginger ale. Y'all get your ginger ale. That's always the remedy for us folks. You know what I mean? Yeah, but get yourself get well, man. Hope you coming into the new year tomorrow night, going into 2026, man. I know you got some big things going on your platforms as well as over there at Morgan State. So, I stay tuned in to what you got going on, and if you need us to plug anything, I got you back 100%, my brother. Appreciate you. Get well though.
All right, my brother.
Because we're gonna need
you Sunday, man.
We're gonna need you Sunday.
Good seeing you, Glennie.
Don't forget Henry running the ball and Luke going to play a big part of the win on.
I'm scared of that.
Sunday. Y'all heard me say it first.
I heard it.
And you said it on camera.
Yes.
All right, brother.
All right, Glennie.
I hope you feel better. Hall of Famer, is out.
Yeah,
And he didn't produce the show for us. We coming on Sunday.
ain't that something? Ain't that something?
Yeah, Sunday night. So yeah, we do a little pregame. You know, just to get some predictions in and get the pulse of the people.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I know it's
So,
gonna
so
be,
Rodney said, "Bring the wizard back."
I don't know who the wizard is.
Who the wizard, Rodney?
John, oh. I should have told Glenny this one. Glenny, if you're watching, get you some bleach.
Donald Trump said bleach work.
Oh, Ozzie Newsome.
Okay.
Ozzie still hanging around the building.
He's still hanging around, man. I see him up in there.
Yeah, he's still around the building. So
Still around.
you know, I don't really know if Ozzie would want that job back at this point.
Yeah, at this point,
Ozzie probably
he up there.
counting them chickens he got, and
Yeah, he up there in age, man. So
I know Ozzie doing some public speaking. Not a lot, but I seen him on a it was an event they was having a couple months ago. He was one of the keynotes. So
and you know when he did quote unquote step down, that there was a lot of organizations that was in his ear.
I know.
To bring him on board. So he could have shifted and been somewhere else. I think he's happy where he is.
Yeah, I think so, and I think they paid him pretty well to sit still. To kind of give the Costa some help over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or at least an ear.
He did leave us with Lamar.
Yeah, that was a hell of a gift.
Yes, it was.
Thank you, Ozzie, for that.
Yes.
Even though people want to run him out of town, you know what I'm saying? I don't understand that foolishness, but
right.
I've lived here a long time.
Yeah, we know.
I remember Eddie Murray getting ran out, and
yeah,
I remember the Ray Lewis talk.
Yeah.
People was tired of Ray Lewis giving speeches, and I'm tired of seeing him dancing on Sundays. And
right.
That's the highlight of most people's experience at the stadium was to see the man come out the tunnel.
Right.
And you got people tired of we tired of seeing that. Yeah.
And this is a guy who is without a doubt on the Mount Rushmore for defensive players.
For sure.
And they want to run him out. So I
just saw a list maybe a week or two ago of the greatest linebackers in NFL history, and he was number 2.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Right.
Behind Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor. Right.
Lawrence Taylor, Ray Lewis.
Exactly.
Come on, man.
Exactly.
Cut the crap. So all these people that's talking about Lamar Jackson and they rather see Huntley, cut the crap.
Yeah.
Cut this nonsense out, man. And sometimes with these people like that, sometimes I hope y'all get what you want. I don't want to see it, but sometimes it be so loud, and I'll be like, I hope you get what you want.
Yeah. And we again, we've seen the Lamar haters in full effect when that contract was going on.
Oh, man.
These guys were out there, and it was consistently every day talking bad about Lamar, get him out of here. All this craziness. So the fact that he signed the contract and he has earned what they have been paying him. In fact, quickly it seemed like he was underpaid. Mm-hmm. And all of them, they were quiet. And DeMarcus Ware, man, he nailed it, man. He nailed it. And as soon as they had an opportunity to see Lamar, they don't, regardless of what the reason is, they're going to jump on the man. And it's obvious to me that the injuries has just been too much for him. And people will say, Well, he out there on the field. I remember I fractured my pinky on my left hand.
Mhm.
I never went to go see about it. I put a little tape or whatever on it, and I kept playing ball. Man, I was amazed. I'm right-handed.
Mhm.
How that pinky on my left hand impacted my game.
Yeah.
I mean, just my baby finger, man. So I understand Lamar could have a toe injury that could mess with everything from his throwing motion to him scrambling.
Mhm.
Same thing with a knee injury or a hip or a back. I mean, those injuries can throw you off of your game. And Lamar had multiple injuries. So and I keep forgetting the hamstring, and you know how delicate the hamstring is that if you overexert yourself, you're done for the year.
Done.
So he's tiptoeing not to make that hamstring into a bigger injury, and not really running the ball, and basically trying to save himself and allow for those things to heal. And we started seeing him heal a little bit better. He was moving a little quick until he caught that knee in the back. And so look, this guy, number 8, man, anybody in the league anybody that's a real football fan understands the talent of this guy and just how good he's been in his career. It's got to be just some hate, if you trying to push this guy out. I mean, what is that all about? I mean, you talk about he hadn't won in the playoff. You think they trying to run Josh Allen out of Buffalo?
No.
They not trying to run that man out of Buffalo because they know what they got.
Yep.
But here in Baltimore, Lamar Jackson, oh, they want to run him out of town. This is some ridiculous stuff. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
And if you can get worse than ridiculous, it's that. If it's anything worse than ridiculous, it's that.
It's that. Whatever that is.
Yeah, because some of the stuff I see and hear with respects to, Lamar and, I guess, man, it's easier. It's a defense mechanism for people to kind of go hard against somebody when you feel like maybe he gonna leave us. So I gotta drum up this hate. If he leaves us, you know what I'm saying? I gotta let people know that I hate him. So now because I had some stuff. Let me see. That was Lamar speaking. So again, you talked about some of the things people were saying. This was from a couple years. This is from 2023. I guess this was the contract year. Somebody here, I'm not gonna say his name, because I don't even know who this person is, but someone else gets what I've been saying. LJ is flat out dumb. All great QBs are 24 or higher on the Wonderlic. Great players like Brady scored a 33. Josh Allen is a 37, and Burrow is a 34. We talking about the Wonderlic. And out of those 3 players, only one of them has won a Super Bowl.
Right.
And only 2 of them have been to a Super Bowl. Let me see. The dumbest thing is not having an agent. Mom does not know best, asking for a ridiculous contract deal and being injury prone. He's injury prone. It's time for the Ravens to say goodbye. This was in 2023. No other NFL team won him either. Just like on draft day, they passed him over. The kid was a first round pick.
Right.
Okay. But again, because I saved this stuff. I told you a couple years ago I was saving. I had all this stuff in the pocket. And I was going to do something with it. I said, well, they don't need me doing that.
Yeah.
The dude didn't win an MVP since that. He won one before the contract. He won one after the contract. So I just hold on to that.
And very well should want another one.
Yeah. But
that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous talk, man. That's the thing about trading Lamar and all that kind of stuff. That's just ridiculous talk, and I'm not even buying into it.
But this was the thoughts. These are Ravens fans.
Ravens fans, yeah.
These are things Ravens fans said about Lamar Jackson. And it was all based on they didn't believe he was worth the contract. You know what I'm saying? He don't deserve the money that and again, he getting paid what starting quarterbacks in the NFL get paid. Lamar Jackson is a selfish, overrated quarterback. Even with him, you're not winning a division. The division, you're not winning. You're not going to a Super Bowl. The AFC is stacked. Obviously, there's more to his injuries than led to believe. That's why they aren't giving him huge guaranteed money. Now he know how the ownership feels. There will be resentment. Rebuild Baltimore and get yourself a QB that can take you further than LJ. LJ is a disgrace to the team. he needs to be traded. These are Ravens fans. In 2023, man, this is Ravens fans talking about the quarterback, QB1, as I like to call him. And that's enough. I've read it. And I had a whole lot more of that, man. But I mean, these are Ravens fans talking about the quarterback of your Baltimore Ravens, man. And this was in 2023, you know. And so, I mean, man, it is crazy to me. But again, I get fans. Fans are fanatical about their teams, man. The fans are a lot of times unrealistic about teams and how contracts work and how organizations are run. Fans are emotional. They tend to let the emotions get the best of them, and a lot of times their true feelings about people come out. You know what I'm saying? When they feel like Lamar at that time was just asking to be paid his worth, which I have no gripe with anybody trying to get their money.
Right.
This is a business. It's a business first. So let's not lose sight of that. The NFL is a business. These guys have an opportunity to play a game that they played as children, and they have an opportunity to make a lot of money doing it. And that window for most players is very short. So you have to capitalize on your opportunities when you have them. What the fans want, be damned. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the fans and people think that people are worth, it's you only worth what somebody willing to pay you. So a starting quarterback in the NFL is going to command $40 to $50 million per year. That is the going rate.
And you can see that they had issues with him not having an agent.
Mm-hmm.
That's outside the box. You ain't supposed to do that. You're supposed to be in line. You're supposed to get one of these guys out here and let them get their cut of that money. And your mama don't know what she doing. All this foolishness. All this foolishness. The man has his mother there. You don't think that he's got people around him that knows football contracts, that knows this? You don't think that he has some lawyers and some people that are understanding of contracts, that he just gonna blindly go in there and try to negotiate a contract with him and his mother? I don't know what her aptitude is. That she's probably more knowledgeable than what these people think when it comes to these contracts and everything. But this is the kind of foolishness that comes up out of these people, But there is some underlining hate that is going on when you attack a guy like Lamar Jackson, who basically saved Harbaugh's job and was pushing the Ravens into the playoffs every year. And in fact, if Lamar Jackson can get a Super Bowl win or two before he finishes this game, he'll be the biggest Baltimore sports star in the history of this city. I believe that he can get a Super Bowl or two. He'll be the biggest sports star in the history. And we talking, the John Unitas's and the Cal Ripkins and Brooks Robinsons and Eddie Marys and Ray Lewis's and Ed Reeds and all these great players, Lamar Jackson has an opportunity and a chance to surpass everybody. So, but there's a lot of hate, and racism is still alive. So, he's dealing with racism, so, but he ain't got to worry about that with me because I got his back. Number 8 is my guy.
Yeah.
And he'll be that quarterback until, he can't do what he need to do. But right now, he's a young quarterback and he's got a long way to go.
Yeah, I just don't understand, to people to suggest you trade away a young guy such as Lamar Jackson.
So we'll see. You still there, Big Ken?
Yeah, I'm here. You can't hear me?
Okay, I hear you.
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. I just don't understand. A guy in his prime, still, he's not even 30 years old yet, and we talking about getting rid of him, trading him. What's the word? Befuddled. I'm that. I'm befuddled. I'm.
Yeah, I mean, you was sound a little funny.
Yeah. Well, I'm just,
Or maybe it's a delay or something.
It could be. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I hear you.
Yeah, but yeah, man. I just yeah, he blinked out. They ain't blinked out, but I'm just with the Ravens, man, and some of the fans and some of the things I hear and read, with respect to Lamar Jackson, all that he's done in his years here as the quarterback, 2 MVPs. They've been to the playoffs, you know, 5, 6 times since he's been the quarterback. He saved Brian Billick. I mean, he saved Harbaugh's job because Harbaugh definitely was on the hot seat when he made the switch from Joe Flacco to Lamar Jackson in his rookie season. Again, man, I'm sometimes at a loss for the things that I see and hear. But again, I take it all into consideration. Fans are more emotional and less logical when it comes to the sports stuff. So, and I try to lead with that. I try to always keep that in mind. I'm a fan first, but I think I like to think I got an understanding of how the business of sports work, and kind of have a pulse of the team, of how the Ravens operate, and some of the moves that they make. So and that's why I feel like we can talk about them the way that we do, because we got more of a pulse on the team rather than if you look at ESPN. Those guys don't really know the ins and outs of the team because they don't cover the team; they cover the league. So they wouldn't look at the Ravens as closely as we would, being here in Baltimore and being fans of the team. We trying to follow them a little more closely than somebody on the national level would. So I don't know, man. Look like my guy might be having some technical difficulties over there on his end, and so I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. But yeah, I appreciate, man, everybody that tuned in tonight. To the Sports Mix, man. Playoff edition. Playoff edition, man. This Sunday night, last game of the regular season, is going to be a playoff atmosphere for sure. The Ravens versus the Steelers in Pittsburgh for the division. The division title is on the line, as well as a trip to the playoffs. So the winner will win the division and go into the playoffs. The loser of that game will go home, and their season will be done. So, excuse me. So we're going to come here Sunday, as my guy Glennie Moore, the Hall of Famer, suggested we do a pregame. So tune in Sunday on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, Sunday evening, man, probably about 6:30. Do a little pregame show before the game, get some predictions in. and just kind of give our how we think it's going to play out, man, for this game. It's a big game this Sunday. Ravens, Steelers. It's always, those games are always good. Just the rivalry of it. But we're gonna come on live Sunday prior to the game and talk a little bit about what we expect for the game. And I just hope y'all tune in, man. I appreciate everybody that's been tuning in with me, man. We're coming down to the end of the year. 2025 is coming to a close tomorrow night, going into Thursday morning, New Year's, man. 2026 is coming in. Don't do resolutions, man, but I just look forward in 2026 to grow the Sports Mix podcast on all platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm looking to be more of a presence on TikTok. And so we just looking to grow the platforms, man, looking to get the support, man. If you're watching, make sure y'all subscribing to the channel on YouTube, man, and follow me on all the other platforms. Share the pages out, share the videos out, tell your friends to subscribe. Just get them subscriptions up, man. Get them numbers up. So, just tell your friends about the Sports Mix, man. If there's anything y'all want to see, anybody y'all want to see me talk to, whatever, hit me on the inbox. Always open to suggestions, man, as long as they make sense. As long as they make sense to me. Coming up in 2026, I got a couple people, man, that I've reached out to that I want to have coming on the show and just talk about some sports, their sports journey. I'm not gonna give the names out, but I got some things coming up, couple interviews and couple things I'm working on for 2026 and beyond. So again, man, I appreciate everybody that's been rocking with me for the last 4 years. Started this thing in 2021, and we've been going strong ever since. So appreciate everybody that's been rocking with me ever since, and just trying to get better at it. Trying to do this thing. We trying to take it to the next level. That's all. Just trying to take it to the next level, man. So shout out to everybody that's been tuning in. Let me give y'all some. Appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all for all the support, all the encouragement. Those that supported me with t-shirts and hoodies, man. I got them. If you want them, reach out to me. I can get you a t-shirt and hoodie. Sports Mix gear. But we're gonna sign off. I appreciate each and every one of y'all once again, man. I hope y'all have a happy new year. I will see y'all in 2026 right here on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram on the Sports Mix podcast. Peace.